We're gonna record. All right. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And Ashley is here. So we are going to start with how's everybody doing? Ashley, how are you feeling? How's this energy been working for you?
So I have been dreaming so much more and like not sleeping all night. Um, Last night I think I woke up at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, in the morning. Then the night before it was like 2, 3:30. So I'm not getting like a full night's sleep. Um, and work has been chaotic. So
Okay, so
yeah.
you experiencing that mind thing that Mercury does, makes you stay up like my neighbor who has been gaming all night and stuff like that, and I'm ready to move. So yeah, and washing clothes all night again. So I understand people are up through the night because their mind is moving and they don't know what it is that's keeping them awake. Um, so that's what it is. And I think that if you could get some chamomile tea, that works really good. Or you could try it because sometimes it doesn't work for everybody. And melatonin. And I'm not a doctor when I say this here. It's just natural remedies that will work to relax the body. So um, the new moon in Sagittarius will be coming in. I didn't put the date in. Ashley, maybe you can look that up, please. But the new moon will reside in the house of Jupiter, which is its home. It's not the moon's home, but it is Jupiter's home. And it's a new moon for Jupiter. So that means it's a Cancer energy because Cancer is the moon and Jupiter.
Not to interrupt you, but it's December 12th.
Okay, so this new moon will be December the 12th. So Cancer's energy and Sagittarius energy will mesh together in this here. And you could think about what Sagittarius brings and what Cancer brings to the table, and then you can understand what's going to be happening. Although I'm going to give some information on Cancer. Um, so the Sagittarius new moon in Jupiter, it will be in the ninth house, but it will be Sagittarius first house. We discussed the transits and the transiting houses, and so that means that the new moon will be in Sagittarius home, which is Jupiter, which means they will be dealing with identity situations and self-expression. They could have issues about who they are, but this is a time of planting your awareness for yourself, and that's for everyone. Because new moons are about new things, and that means that you can read what you want to become. You can look at what you want to become, because reading is fun for the mental state, fundamental, and then visions. Looking at pictures of what you want changes your consciousness, and it's always in a place where you're sitting quietly so that you can take the information that you're looking at in. Um, because in that time, when you're looking at something and you're like articulating it or visualizing, what's happening is you're channeling. I'm gonna go a little bit off course, and I'm gonna say this here to understand. When you look at something and you think about it, you speak of it. Um, there's things that I try not to listen to or look at because I don't want it to influence my subconscious. One of my friends that I grew up with, I saw that she had passed before the 9th of November. And I mean, we grew up together. So it really hit me hard. And we hadn't seen each other in decades. But what I don't try to do is keep following to find out what's going on. And, sometimes people will take that in a way where they don't quite understand. But for me, I'm changing my consciousness. And there are things that we can protect ourselves from feeling. We will have feelings about it, but we can protect ourselves so that we can gain strength. And it doesn't mean that I don't want to um, know what happened to her, but some things are just not um, necessary for our conscious growth. And once you start really growing, what you'll find is that your consciousness is your own choice. Everything that you think is your choice. So here in Sagittarius, we get a chance to think about the optimism and the gratitude that Sagittarius holds. And because we've all been going through so much, we want to hold that. We don't want to cry a whole lot, although we have to cry because there are some things and some that we are actually releasing. And, like people are releasing from the full moon in Mercury. They're releasing old communication, or they should be, the way that they talk to people, how they handle community affairs or communion, the words that we speak to one another. If we hurt one another, then we're still going to continue to cycle hurting. And what we want to do is learn how to not do that. And the way that we learn is by reprogramming ourselves. We could say, even, some people would get offended when I was going to church. I've been in church all of my life, but they would get offended if I said reprogramming. But that's what the scriptures do. The scriptures actually reprogram you. Yes, there is a spiritual empowerment behind it, because there is a Holy Spirit that will touch your life and change you. If you're not changing, then you can know that the Holy Spirit had not maybe came in completely, because it does happen. However, I don't want to get too far in there, but we talk about these things. And we have prayer on Sunday. Sometimes I'll call everyone and say, you want to pray? Anyway, the Holy Spirit is still moving and active today, but it's part of Mercury's energy, that is an air sign that fulfills the holiness or the spiritual aspects when you study further. So we have let go of some spiritual aspects of Mercury, who is Hermes in the deity of Greek gods, and it goes further into the African gods. However, we're letting go of some of the words that we used to speak. Some of the words they used to speak that were so powerful, they hurt people. We wanted to find out why they were hurting or why we were hurting. And then we get to that word karma, and people use it so casually. But we have said things to people that hurt them, and it's words, and then the words came back to us where we had to feel it and we weren't conscious of it. A lot of times we experience it. So in the full moon of Mercury, what is happening is words, communication, how we associate with siblings, with family members, aunts and uncles, was being put to the test of being released. There are also old projects, such as book writings, that were being, say, like released. There could be a revising of those books, because Mercury is about writing and publishing, the hand and the movement in the hand, Mercury. And I'm not getting away from Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is at the other end of the natal chart. It's actually across from Mercury. So Sagittarius is the archer. It pulls the string back with the arrow, and it's pointing at what it wants. So when I tell you that a new moon is here and it's saying to focus on what you want, where you want to go, career-wise, in your home, because it's going to be sitting in your first, second, third, or fourth house. It's going to be according to your ascendant sign or your sun sign, and you're going to have to learn how to use that transiting perspective, which other astrologers talk about it. Me, I'm a conversationalist. I discuss and I study history. I also study the astrology wheel and the natal wheel, because it becomes a way of life to know what's working for us right now. So, what's working for us all right now is the synchronicities of higher learning. Higher learning, people are wanting to solve problems where jobs may be a problem. They may not feel like they're getting their just due in their job. So they're looking for more employment. People are looking for more employment that's going to pay them better. And sometimes Sagittarius is saying review and redo, in this instance, with this new moon, your goal for this area. All right. And begin to expand your vision, expand your horizons, be optimistic, look at the philosophical aspects of it. Could be the work that you do. What is the philosophy on it? What is the philosophy on your spirituality, the preaching and teaching? Because Sagittarius is a teaching energy, but it's a preacher energy too, depending on where it is. Now, in my point of view, we could give you all different types of understandings, but this is for all of us, right? So, Sages and the energy of Sag, we're not just talking about one person, we're talking about ours. We can get into a place where we're like, oh, I feel like a therapist, because that's part of their energy. They dive into deep information, and they long to solve problems because they're motivational. The energy is motivational, is upbeat, so it always wants to help people. It can be selfish, because we know that Zeus was too. But moving forward, I want to add um, the need of self-expression, but also the balance of self-expression. That is for everyone, because this is a self-expressive energy. The new moon could say, wherever you are, you need more self-expression in your home, in your workplace, and that's Sagittarius. You need to create more within your ancestry, understand your ancestry, understand children. Sagittarius in the fifth house does that, and that's for Capricorns. Um, the other thing about Sag is because they can be so focused on something, they can become addictive. They can become addictive to things that are not good for them. When we say expansive, then you have to look at expansion and expansive in your eating, our thinking. It becomes habitual, and you have to harness your thoughts. Like Ashley came on and said that she was not sleeping, and all of that is a Mercurial and Sagittarius energy, because there's a lot of talking and they have a lot of energy. Talking, communion, conversation, Hermes, Mercury, and then Sagittarius is always busy. They always got to be doing something because they have a lot of energy. You want to say something before I go forward? You're on mute.
I know, I was just checking with my mom because the phone was ringing here. It was making me laugh to think of all the different people that I know that are Sagittarius, because like you said, we're not just talking about one person, and they are all completely different individuals, but they are always busy. Like it's always a constant of, my sister-in-law is a Sagittarius. She's always like during the day busy with the animals, busy planting. Then when her husband gets home, she's busy doing something. Then they're busy gaming. Like they're just busy. And then like my other coworker, she's a Sagittarius. She's always busy with her family, busy with her kids. So it's like it's always constantly moving. And me, to get to like the Mercury in me, I am very strong in communication. So when I'm sitting up in the middle of the night, I'm always like, "Okay, God, so what's going on? What do we need to talk about? What's going on? Let's chat," because something's happening and I'm not fully aware of it. And that's the time that I'm being awakened for two reasons. I'm awakened to pay attention to it, but I'm also awakened because now I can't sleep. So my mind is always constantly. So the past 2 nights I've been playing meditation music, like, please, let's just sleep through the night. And every time I wake up, the music is now paused. And I'm like, how did it get paused? Who paused it? So just to think about that because all of that movement, and then like we can even speak about Jasmine. This girl is always on the go. She travels everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
She's in Germany now, always traveling. So it's always a movement. But I like the imagery that you provided on the Sagittarius being the archer. I never thought about that, about the bow and arrow. And when you said they pull the arrow back, it made me think about sometimes you have to reach back to something that you didn't remember about
Yeah.
yourself or
Good
remember.
job. Mm-hmm.
And then you use that to catapult you forward because we know when you pull it back, there's only one other way it can go. It can only go forward. So if you pull back to something not so good, Sagittarius, Jupiter is going to expand it. So when it's going forward and you get to that destination, it might not be so good. So
That
you
was
got to be
really
mindful.
good. I like that because you can re-pull it. So, okay. Um, Looking at the energies and how you brought it up, I want to go back into the addiction. So they do this energy, even if it's like for me, it's um 12th house energy. And so it puts me in the place of experiencing possible addictions, self-sabotaging, um, missed decisions concerning spirituality, following the wrong groups. Um, it could be for me in the 12th house saying this is a Capricorn energy. 12th house means that you're researching and reviewing. It's also the hidden world. It's the world of dreams. You do dream a lot, no matter where Sagittarius or Mercury is, especially if your consciousness is being groomed and cleaned. Your dreams will become more infinite rather than finite. You begin to understand them because it's a spiritual energy. It's also a physical energy, but the actions of this fire sign is to purify. Therefore, the individual, all of us, will go through purifying um, and planting. So you can't plant seeds in fire. However, they ask you to meditate because this is a spiritual thing. The fire will take it where it needs to go quickly, which means that we have to think about what we're thinking and saying to ourselves. And that means that if you are in a place where you stay gloomy and doomy, then that fire energy is going to take you into those areas quickly because it's a fire sign and they move quick. That means that even your thoughts can burn you up. It's not just burning up people, like your words will burn you up because you're thinking and then you're spitting them out. It can burn up a project, it can burn up your relationship, it can burn up family situations. And definitely is good if it's not a good situation, but that you handle those words properly because these words manifest. So, the other thing that's good about this time is the Mercury retrograde. I want to add in the weight gain. Everyone that I know, they're having problems with weight, but it's because of where Sagittarius is. And I believe that there's been a lack of movement in a lot of people's lives from 2020 even up until now. And so that's where the answers are. You got to move your body more. Um, Younger people may not be experiencing this and they may be, but I just kind of like watch and I see that we're not talking about FAT, we're talking about something that the universe is showing people. And it could be too much consumption. And the consumption is the thing that Sagittarius energy can do for us. It can make us overconsume, make us drink too much. It can make us greedy, you know. So all of these will add up to addictions. You eat, you drink, drugs. That is one of its issues, that energy. Um, the other thing is the sciatic nerve begins to bother people. So once we went into Sagittarius season, your leg, um, the sciatic nerve may have started been bothering people, the hip area. With Capricorn or Saturn being in, I'm just giving some information. With Saturn being in Pisces, and it went, forward at the beginning of the month, people probably started feeling like their body was waking up where they had been stiff. Because Saturn is the structure of your body, it's the skeletal system. And it will make the skeletal system feel out of order when it is retrograde or maybe sleep. So now the bodies are feeling like they're waking up now. Now, the Mercury retrograde.
Oh wait, Miss Kim, before you go to that, I wanted to add into when you were talking about addiction and consumption, that's also what you consume on TV, what you consume on social media.
Yeah.
People can have addictions to those things. I'll say myself, at one point, I could sit on TikTok for like 4, 5, 6 hours just scrolling and like not straight. Like I put the phone down and do other things, but I'm scrolling and laughing and getting information. But I had to realize like, what is this doing to my brain and what am I coming to understand? And you mentioned, this pandemic that we went through that took us at home. TikTok exploded because we didn't have anything to do. We couldn't connect to each other but through social media because we couldn't stand around each other. So for 3 years, we've been consuming that information.
Right.
And but whether we recognize it or not, we were starting our pandemic in this time 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
what does that tell you about the energies and what that does and how something can expand like TikTok did in that time to create people to have these addictions? I'm on TikTok now and all I see are ads for buy what's in my TikTok shop, buy what's in my TikTok shop. So people took that and flipped it and said, I can make money on this platform. Where there's other people like me that's like, ooh, what's in your TikTok shop? That's cool. Next. So that's something else to think about because those are also real addictions and real things that can rot your brain or cause you eye problems or other things. So I just wanted to tie that in because people don't always think about that as being an addiction and what it can do to you.
Right. And the thing that ties it in is that I'm thinking, and so my hands begin to work with my thoughts. And that's Mercurial. And it's also Sagittarius because the hands, with Sagittarius, if you wake up at night, you're trying to figure out how to do something with your hands with Mercury. And why? Because you're thinking, what can I do? And the thoughts are focused on this phone that Steve Jobs had made, and he keep making phones and he didn't passed over. But everyone, the funny thing, let me just tell you about Steve Jobs. His birthday is Gemini, which is Mercury energy, Hermes. And Steve Jobs had problems with speaking, communicating. But Steve Jobs, and he was not a rich man. You watch his story. He was able to master himself, begin to communicate and go to the level. This is all Mercurial. Go to the level, create this phone. So we all waking up and just finding our life in here and forgetting to go to work sometime. He done created all of this here stuff, and it's all about the mind and all about the hands. So when you look at hands and mind, there's things that have to be released, as Ashley is saying. You got to bring balance to that hands and mind and how we use social media. And that's up to the individual. But if we use it with moderation, then we could get some information coming through from the evolution of these energies. Because the moon, the reason why we're talking about the new moon is it's time to plant. It's time to plant so that you can reap a harvest in 6 months to come. When Sagittarius goes into full moon, you should be reaping a harvest in the area of philosophy, how you research. You should research if you like, and I say you should because philosophy takes you into greater understandings of knowledge concerning the world, and that's what Sagittarius is about. When I say planting your vision, you want to see things different than what you grew up with or the environment that you've been in. Sometimes we're stuck because we won't do anything different. Sagittarius is definitely about taking the approach of different things because it takes you into a place where you can become a lawyer. And if you become a lawyer and you work at it good, you can come before people. You can come before immigration officers because this is a foreign energy. It takes you overseas. It brings foreign affairs here. And so it's an expansive energy that says you can do more than you think you can do. Now, that is, predicated on your chart. So you planting seeds. You planting seeds not on what you already know, but what you think you can do, what you felt. If you felt like going to school, it could be very much time for you to pick that up because this is a school energy. Again, it's a philosopher energy. It's a higher learning energy, which means that you're excelling. It's also an education energy. It is, and it ties in with Gemini. So I'm not just going to a community college now. I might be going to a university, Sagittarius. Community is Mercury, all right? And that's fine. However, but this is the evolution of it. What else could we add in there? Sagittarius, because people think that, okay, if you do a video, and I haven't been doing tarot cards and I haven't been doing readings just on the sign unless it's somebody personal. They pay for personal. And the reason why is because I move with the energy and it's telling me to talk about the energy. You think you sick because your back is hurting and it's really your sciatic nerve. Or go to the doctors and see if it's your kidneys. You can go to astroseekers.com, and every time the moon it engages into the next cycle, there's something about our bodies that will feel something. And the moon is very important to understand. You was about to say something.
I was, and I forgot.
Okay, while she remembering, it was time and people throughout time that told us that the moon was and the sun and the stars were witchcraft, but I mean it's over our head. Why in the world would we take and buy into that when this sun and the moon is sitting over our head? We need to learn how to think for ourselves and go further because see the sun, that wheat behind me, the sun is what make the wheat grow. Why don't I want to know about that? It is deep. Because if you plant a seed, it's going to die and germinate and it's going to grow again. But the sun has to be a part of that. What does the moon do? The moon shows you how you need to harness your emotions. So even as we talk about the pretty things, it's optimistic. The energy of Sagittarius is anxious. And it must be mastered. Why is it anxious? Because there's a part of it that's uncertain. Even if I tell you to aim and shoot your arrow, we could shoot wrong because of anxiety, not understanding why we're anxious. Here, the Bible, it tells us be anxious for nothing, but everything to God in prayer. And it's for a reason. You got to have a foundation in order to keep you secure in what you're doing and where you're going. Therefore, if you have a foundation, even around you, if you feel nervous and anxious, you begin to focus on where you're going and that goal set, and you shoot your arrow, you're going to get there. Because now you're going to harness that energy to go into your arrow and shoot for your victory. Fire signs, in this case, we're going to shoot our arrow and we're going to shoot the seed. Just say the arrow is the seed towards that healing, the peace, the joy, the prosperity. What is prosperity to you? We're going to shoot the arrow at that, and we're going to stop worrying about everything, because that's what this is all about. Your seed's been going into worry because you didn't know what the moon does. The moon gonna make you feel shaken because it sits up over the water. But it sits over the water in a stable position. When we look at the moon, it ain't going all over like this here. See, we gotta get to that place like that moon. And every time I teach, I don't ever stay on the script, because there's something inside of me that has studied. No, there's me that has studied what something has said to me, and that something is the Holy Spirit. And I come up with stuff, I'd be like, wow, okay, I like that. Now let me use that. So you see, we're all learning together, but be anxious for nothing to God in prayer. And then Sagittarius is a preaching energy. See, you don't have to call out you really don't have to call out Cancer. Now, my name is Larry, and I'm a Cancer. You don't have to call out Float On. What you have to do is understand the energy you're sitting in right now. And as you understand that energy, what happens is you stop giving it a name and saying, oh, my hips are bothering me. I'm sick. I need to go to the doctor. And you begin to look at the moon and say, well, what is the moon doing? Or what is the energies doing? What's keeping me up? Oh, is it demons? Or maybe it's your own demons. Maybe you thinking too much and you done took them thoughts to sleep. Maybe you didn't put on some happy music before. So the communication that is going into your sleep is keeping you awake. Maybe you can't sleep because you're thinking too much. Someone told me they can't stop thinking. I won't fight what you wanted, but I believe that you can stop thinking if you start meditating. Ashley, you wanna tell us what you have to say?
I never remember what I was gonna say, but when you just made that point, one of my friends said that to me, and I used to think like my mind is always just going, like it's always like 50 tabs open, and I can like interchange between the tabs and pick up where I left off. And I started meditating, and when my mind finally went quiet, I'm like, how many people have been experiencing this? Thi- I'm like, this is amazing. Like, there's no outside interference, there's no constant, like, I have to think about the next thing because I can go down a rabbit hole. I've woken myself up in the middle of the night, like, who invented crackers? Why? Why is that a thought I'm having? And now I have to know why they invented them, who it was, when did they first start using them? When did all the other people come into play? Like, this is where I can go at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm like, wow, I've learned so much about crackers. This is amazing. And now I'm up. And now I'm like, do I want crackers? No. I've just wasted an hour of my time researching about this to have this useless knowledge in my brain. But when I learn to silence my mind,
Yeah.
I don't wake up at 2 o'clock asking about crackers. I wake up at 2 o'clock because there's other thoughts going on. But I don't think people understand the power of that. But people also say, how do I meditate? I said, you do mindless meditation all the time. When you're folding laundry, when you're washing dishes, there are things that you do and your mind just goes, okay, this is washed to the next one. You're not thinking about other things in those moments. You're focused on that task. That's all meditation is. You're focused on quieting yourself and getting connected within. So I thought that was, when you brought that up, I was like, oh, that's me. Not me all the time, but that is definitely me where I can just go, 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 go. And also, it just came back to me. The words burning up. Um, because of how fast my mind moves when I am faced with a problem at work, I can very easily get burnt out because my mind is connecting the dots so fast. And then somebody's talking to me, and I have to try to connect the dots as fast. And I have to go, wait, stop. Not just to myself, but even out loud. Because if the person is still talking, I'm like, no, 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 you cannot add more details. I have to tell you where I've gotten to based on what you've explained to me. Because 9 times out of 10, I've already gotten to the point where you're about to tell me the next detail. And they're like, how do you do that? I'm like, my mind moves very fast. So I didn't realize that was like the Mercury Sagittarius part in me. Because even now, like at work, this is our fourth quarter, this is our busy season. My mom will tell you, I will log out and I will go, I'm exhausted. And my 9-year-old daughter will start talking to me, and I'll go, no, no, now is not the time. Mommy needs silent time now because I've been talking all day. So I never realized that. So thinking about it that way, it's about consciously grounding myself and slowing myself down to understand I don't have to go that fast. And even if I am going that fast, maybe then I need to step away
And that's a
to break it
process.
up.
Yeah, that's a process of learning how to control and discipline your mind. It's a seed to be planted in Sagittarius because you don't want to release everything all at once. Because again, this is a fire sign and this is your energy. All of the fire signs, they contribute to our energy. Aries, Leo, and all of this. They have different um backgrounds, but they still contribute to our energy. And energy is propelled through the thoughts. You know, like I'll tell someone that I need to rest and not talk to people a lot because my job is about thinking. So I learned how not to think a lot, as in I said about my friend who passed. I don't want to think about it. Why? Because you said the rabbit hole. Also, thinking burns up your energy. You think and you burn up stuff. You think you should say something that is irrelevant. Sometimes you just need to be quiet. This is not personal, and you gain wisdom by holding things. Then there's things that yes, you do need to express, but there are times and seasons for that expression. And that's why we have philosophers that have spoken great information in the Stoics. You know what I'm saying? We could go into that, but to be quiet at a certain time is to be mindful because it may not be time for you to release that energy. Some people are jumping with their thoughts into things and then they don't know how to get out of it. Some people are not speaking enough. And so that energy can become compiled within them where they need to use that energy, you know? And so in the Sagittarius energy, again, with the new moon being there, there's newness of things that are coming in to say that specifically, I believe that people are looking at their work. They're looking at, you know, their home. What work needs to be done on the home, a upgrade and expansion. You know what I'm saying? But the Sagittarian energy is specifically it's going to give us ideas of travel, long distance travel, not short distance. I mean, you could go long distance. Um, it's also going to bring in relationships, as I said, but foreign affairs is one of the things that it focuses on. Um, it brings you into communities with foreigners. Um, Sometimes you'll think that this is not your thing, and it really is your thing that you need to get involved because with the foreign um, cohesiveness, if it's friends, family, work, what happens is it's giving you the opportunity for global representation and events. Um, Capricorn is going to be a part of this energy because we're going into the retrograde with Mercury. I think that I want to probably bring this retrograde information in like next week because I don't want this to be real long. But there will be grounding from this retrograde in Capricorn for that Sagittarius energy because Capricorn is going to bring structure, even though it's going to go back over stuff. It's going to go over the re-arrowing or the repositioning of the arrow, like you said, because it's going to the retrograde with Mercury is going to be going back over communication and conversations that were had at least 6 months ago or into August, I think, or September. So I think I want to go into that next week because we gave a lot of information here, not to make it too long. You want to add anything? I like the way that you brought up disciplining your mind with meditation and finding that you do or we do useless meditation. I don't think you said it, but that's what it is because meditation is what we're thinking on all the time.
I didn't want to add anything else, but I think that for people who don't understand or are like, I think these are my people, then you need to be joining these classes to get in these conversations to get a deeper understanding, because it's through these classes and this information that I've learned how to become more like the moon sitting over the water, and how I became to a place to learn that communication is a two-way street. If you're always talking, when are you listening? If you're always listening, when are you talking? There's a healthy balance that has to be done. And sometimes it is your time to just sit and listen and take what's being said, and then use your discernment to know, yeah, I don't think that really applies here. Or, you know what, that does apply. So, like, if you're searching and you found this video and you're listening, you're like, I want to know more, then this is not a shameless plug at all. This is a full plug that you need to join these classes and get this information to get a better understanding for yourself. Because, like, I was thinking about, you were talking about the movement. I've been using the mini stepper, and as I'm doing it, I feel like, it sounds weird, but I feel like my brain is waking up, and I feel it all like in the back of my neck and up that way. So it's like everything is coming online. And
All
then when
right.
I go into work, my brain is more focused. And
Mhm.
during that time when I'm on the stepper, all I'm thinking about is, did I get to my 500 steps yet? Because that thing is hard. But that is a state of meditation. Going to the gym, you're in a state of meditation. These are all moments that you don't even realize that you're doing it. So um click the link down below, send an email, write a comment. We'll get you locked in these classes, because
Right. And while she's bringing that in, we want you to know that I'm going to start doing a free class helping people with anxiety, um, depression, and stress. That's where to begin. I'm going to start doing it. I had some people to register, a few, but even my cohorts here, one of them gonna have to back me up. It's on Fridays starting. I have the first, but it looks like it's going to be next week. Someone signed up, and so I think that that's going to help people a lot. Not that I want to intermix because I have to make sure that people that are having symptoms understand what's happening to them. And what that means is go from a mental health perspective. But I learned mental health meshes with astrology because here a lot of us are having headaches because of the energies and the crown chakras open up. Some of us are having sinus problems because of Aries. Aries, it deals with the sinus area as well as Capricorn, and so I have those issues. Someone just texted me and said that they were taking someone in their family to the hospital for ear infection. Ear infections and inflammation is a part of Mercurial's energy, Hermes. Also, the lungs, Hermes, Mercury deals with asthma, all of those things. So you can learn a lot. But where the anxiety is usually in your thinking. You haven't brought yourself to a stopping point to say, okay, does that really matter? Or like Ashley said, she was looking up who made crackers, and maybe God wanted her to figure that one out because she gonna have to give some information about it. But hey, you listen. I like the research part, but the anxiousness is I got to be figuring this out. So most people that are anxious, and I'm saying it for my own self, is that I need to figure it out. I need to know. You don't need to know. I like that she researched them crackers because she got the name on who did it. But you having money problems, you anxious because you really worried about if you gonna get it. Just say you got it. See, planting that seed right now in Sagittarius, you can plant a seed of money. And I brought up work. Your profession could be changing because it's more money out there for you, but you're looking at staying at the same job, the same profession, and not upgrading it or going into higher learning, which is Sagittarius, so you can get more money out of it. The young lady that Ashley brought up, she's been flying for a while. She had wanted Jazz. She had wanted to leave the position, and I said, "Don't do it because it's your calling to travel." She's a Sagittarius. So they're all of them are supposed to be traveling because their MO is movement. So we're gonna leave it there, and yeah, join us and listen and be a part and share. All right, God bless you. And remember the prayer of Jabez, because Jabez was talking about enlarge my territory. You want a scripture? There it is, Sagittarius, right in the Bible. All right, and all the rest of them are the word. Bye bye.